President Trump has fought and defeated some very difficult political heavyweights. Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, the Democrat machine. Now he's on the verge of defeathering his toughest political opponent yet, Big Bird. And it's ruffling all kinds of feathers on the left. I'm Daniel Cohen. You're watching The Daniel Cohen Show on the Real Life Network.
This vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 48, and on this vote, the bill is amended as passed.
That's it. Time to say bye-bye to the big government handout to Big Bird. Close. The Senate just voted to pass President Trump's historic plan to defund PBS and NPR. It's a rescission package now that's going to go back to the House for a final vote that should take place by Friday. President Trump signed an executive order in May directing CPB, we're going to talk about that throughout this, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, to cease federal funding for NPR and for PBS. The House already voted to cut about $9 billion in spending, and that includes $1.1 billion for public broadcasting. And maybe you're hearing this news and you're saying, finally, it's about time. Here's a social media post from President Trump. This is in April, saying Republicans must defund and totally disassociate themselves from NPR and PBS, the radical left monsters that so badly hurt our country. In a statement from May, the White House actually said that unlike in 1967, which is when CPB was established, today, the White House says, the media landscape is filled with abundant, diverse, and innovative news options. Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence. Here's President Trump.
It's a very biased view. You know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. Mm-hmm. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. Yeah. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money.
You've seen the White House, the press pool. You've seen it. There's really two things in play here: liberal bias and the complete and total reckless waste and abuse of your money. This is your money. Remember that. And we're going to talk dollars and cents in just a minute. But let's start by just stripping out the bias. Conservatives are sick and tired of paying people that call Republicans stupid, racist, and backwards. Here's David Bozell. He was speaking to Michelle Tafoya. He's from the Media Research Center, MRC. Here he is, and he brought the receipts.
PBS's Washington Week, which is their flagship political program, I think it airs every Friday, 93% negative bias against Republicans in 2025. 93%. Now, they're fighting for their life in terms of their funding, and they're still 93% negative, because you might want to, get a clue here. On NPR's flagship political show, Fresh Air, 36 left-wing guests, zero right-wing guests in 2025. They mislabel the Republican Party far right versus labeling the Democrat Party far left at a rate of 42 to 1. There are 127 references to the far right label, only 3 references to calling the Democrats or liberals far left. So they are hip deep in liberal ideology.
Oh, totally. I worked in affiliates from San Diego, Los Angeles, on the East Coast. You tell me, you'll not hear the affiliates. You'll hear them talk about the far right, the extreme right. You'll never hear them even utter the words far left or extreme left. Here's what you need to know, okay? NPR claims that it gets 2% or so of its funding from the government. Totally a misleading number. They're saying, guys, it's only 2%. It's not. NPR gets 41% of its funding from member stations. Those stations get between 8 and 15% of their money from the federal government, and then it gets kicked back. That's how it works. It's a shell game. CPB funds more than $90 million in grants to NPR. There are about 1,050 member stations around the United States. So when NPR says only 2%, it's a lie. It's a lie by omission. The president and CEO of PBS, her name is Paula Kerger, she says, bias? Bias? What left-wing bias?
I ask them for examples. People often struggle to come up with examples of what really they're talking about.
What really are they talking about? Well, don't worry. Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy said, if it's a struggle for you, he said, it's not a struggle for him.
Another headline, How America's History of Racism Connects to Divisions Today. Another headline, The Hidden Racism of Young White Americans. Another headline, AP Fact Check, Trump seeds race animus with COVID falsehood. Becoming Papa, father's key to gender justice.
Gender justice?
I tell you, that's every mom and dad in Louisiana, when they lie down to sleep at night, and they can't, lying there worried about gender justice.
What in the world is gender? Do you guys know? Like, what is gender justice? You know, the left likes to frame this as an attack on democracy or as an attack on independent journalism. What a joke. What is gender justice? Okay, so you just heard from the top dog at PBS. Now here's NPR. Here's the CEO. Her name is Catherine Marr, completely embarrassing herself. I mean, making a complete fool of herself. I wish I could play the full 2 minutes and 12 seconds of this interaction. She testified before Congress, and she was being questioned by a rising star in the party, a man named Brandon Gill. And he's asking her about things that she said herself. Watch this.
Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. How white of me.
I'm sorry. It's not funny, but she says, no, I've never read that book. Oh, that's interesting, because here you tweeted that you took a day off to read that book. I mean, look, if you've been caught, you're caught. But she can't. She just cannot come out and say, yeah. It's not just news, and it's not just people who are in charge of disseminating information, which is supposed to be, they say, it's supposed to be unbiased, just the facts. I mean, it's nothing factual. And especially when it comes to children. Check this out. They're coming for children, too.
Daddy, Elmo doesn't understand. What's happening? Why are all these people together?
Oh, well, they're gathering together to protest. A protest is when people come together to show they are upset and disagree about something. They want to make others aware of the problem.
Okay. And then this is how the far left makes others aware of the problem that Elmo and his friend were just discussing there. Looting stores, vandalizing cars. This is from BLM. These are from the riots a few years ago. I don't know. You may have seen similar things like that. Powerful video. Look, this is not the way to address grievances. Would have loved to hear Elmo say that. That's called breaking the law. Looting, stealing things that don't belong to you is just lawlessness. And the left is going to be the left. Should we be surprised? I'm not surprised by the left doing what the left does. But why won't the extremists in the Democrat Party stop hiding behind Elmo? Stop hiding behind puppets to defend your radical agenda. Stop that. And children, even Greta Thunberg. You know, they're deployed. The tactic is use puppets, use children, use Greta, and then those Republicans you criticize, oh, you sure sound like meanies. In June, just to show how, parents, are you okay with this? In June, Sesame Street welcomed Queer Eye star Jonathan Van Ness And the theme, it was Pride Month, June, something along the lines of on our street, everyone is welcome.
Elmo, Cookie, are you ready to see my monster piece?
Ready, Jonathan.
Mama Bear, some runway music.
Yeah. Friends, listen, PBS, NPR, they're going to fight, and they are fighting tooth and nail so that they can use your money and that Elmo can continue to teach your children things that really should be coming from you. These are parents, you should be the ones addressing children on these issues when you say it's appropriate and when you feel your children are ready emotionally. That's what's important here. You don't need to tune into Sesame Street to hear these conversations. By the way, you know what we never hear them portray fairly? How about traditional marriage between one man and one woman? How about family values? The importance of faith, the Bible in American life, a father in the home, conservative economic principles, that babies in the womb deserve protection, support for law enforcement, a traditional gender role, patriotic American history. Boring, apparently. Listen, this is the whole thing. No one's trying to throw Big Bird out of the street or on the street. NPR, PBS, you're free to continue operating. You know what you can do? I worked in local affiliates from Los Angeles to San Diego and otherwhere else. You know how we made money? You sell commercials. You present a product, people buy, they sell commercials. That's where the money comes from. You can also drum up your own financial support from your own wealthy, liberal donors. And no, that doesn't make conservatives a grouch. From Israel, for the Real Life Network, I'm Daniel Cohen.